Welcome to another episode of Cooking While Not Tripping Over Dogs. No, this is Maddie's Nibbles. Just want to say a quick thank you to everybody that's been watching so far. I am overwhelmed with the amount of positive feedback I'm getting, so I'll try to service you while you try to service me. Today we're going to be attempting, for the first time, which seems to be a general theme going on at the moment, I'm cooking things for the first time. We're going to be trying pork gyoza, which is a dumpling, I suppose, but it's like semi-pan fried, semi-steamed. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking and get into it. This is going to be interesting. We're going to start by cooking a little bit of garlic and ginger. Probably, I don't know, if you got like a Hercules sized thumb, it's about a thumb size, but if you got a normal sized thumb, it's probably 2 thumbs worth. I don't know why I'm talking in thumbs, but why not? Just going to trim it up, get rid of some of the skin, get rid of all the skin actually, we don't want any of the skin on. Try and make this a similar consistency to crushed garlic. So just going to cut into matchbox strips first. Matchsticks. We don't want full matchboxes in there. So the idea is to cut them all nice and thin, get a fairly consistent size, and then we just slice it into matchsticks, slice it into tiny flea-sized testicles. We have our chopped ginger. Let's go equal parts ginger, equal parts garlic. So that's probably, I don't know, tablespoon and a half. I do prefer using fresh garlic, but I've got this in the fridge and I'm going to get rid of it. So let's use it. Get a pan on the stove. Probably a medium heat. We just want to kind of cook this till it's aromatic. Put a bit of oil in the pan while it's heating up. Not a lot, just enough to cover the base. Really, really thinly. Thin like my hair. Same concept with oil on the pan. You want to know it's hot when you splash a bit of water and hear a sizzle. Nope. So now we wait. What I'm going to do in the meantime is, for the end of this, I'm going to make a sauce, but I'm actually going to use quite a lot of the ingredients that I'm putting in the gyoza to make the sauce. So get a bowl. What I'm going to do is drop a little bit of ginger in the bowl for later. Put a bit of garlic as well. As I'm cooking, I'm just going to keep adding to this for the ingredients that I want, and then we'll finish the sauce up while the gyoza is actually cooking. Cabbage. So probably just going to roughly chop this. No, I'm actually probably going to finely slice it. So cut it in half first. You only want maybe 3/4 of a cup for what we're doing today. Yeah, that's probably too much. I'll work it out in the pan, whatever. This will be hot enough now, so I'll dump the garlic in there and the ginger. So again, just on a medium heat, I'm just going to stir this until it's aromatic. Don't mind if we get a little bit of burn, charcoal, colouring, but the idea is just to make it soft and smelly. Ideally, this is best done in a wok. My wok's a big pain in the ass to get out of the cupboard. It's electric, I don't have gas, so I'll deal with what I got. I've decided after thinking about it, I don't want this sliced, I want it chopped. So just going to run the knife through it, make it a little bit rougher. Once your cabbage is in, we want to put about 2 tablespoons of water in there. We don't want to flood it or boil it. We just want to create a steam effect that'll wilt the cabbage a bit better. And we'll just leave that for a minute and then we'll come back while we're waiting for this to wilt. We'll start preparing the next ingredients. People are funny about coriander. You love it or you hate it. I love it, but if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. For the shallots, just going to cut off the ends of these bad boys. We don't want the root happening in this one here. I've given them a wash. I'm not going to use the tips either. And then we'll just finely slice these. That should do us. As I said, we're going to keep adding to this bowl, so I'm just going to grab a pinch and throw it in my sauce bowl for later. Next one is the coriander. The leaves on a coriander have a nice flavour. Most of the flavour comes from the root. I don't have time to grind a root down, so I'm just going to cut these off for the time being. Same thing again, just going to slice the bit of the root because I love the flavour, but I'm also going to take off a bit of the leaves for this. Best way to do this, just scrunch it up really, really tight, so when you slice it, you're not slicing through loose bits, you're slicing through quite a compressed space. You get it a lot finer when you do that. That's enough for this in the bowl. Now I've got everything prepared. I've just taken it over to the stove and we're going to go get this cabbage out and put the other shit in. As you can see, this cabbage, there's nothing hard left in it. It's all very, very soft. Just going to dump a bit more oil in here. In goes our pork. We want about 250 grams. So to add to this, I'm going to start with about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I want about 2 teaspoons of caster sugar. Make sure you use caster sugar, not any other sugar. It's fine, it dissolves well, it's nice and sweet. And we're also going to throw in about 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Once I think the pork is cooked, I'll add the cabbage back to it. Just realized I've started doing all this and I haven't put in my key ingredients. So this is the coriander and the shallots. Get it in there, get it stirred. Doesn't matter that I missed it for a second. They would have gone in with the wet anyway. Alright, so just to mix it all together, I'll add the cabbage back in, give it a stir, and then I'll move it to the fridge to cool. Transfer to the bowl. Now we've got all this in a bowl. One of the tricks I've learned is you don't want to pack it down, but you want to try and make as much surface area as possible for quicker cooling time. So I just kind of push it up the edges a bit and put it in the fridge. While that's cooling, I'll give the pan a wash because we're going to need a nice clean pan, a nice clean working surface for the papers. I'm just going to cut a bit of chilli to add to the sauce as well. For this one, I'm not going to use the whole chilli. I'm going to use the seeds, but I'm going to cut it in half just to give it a nicer look. So, in here we have garlic, ginger, shallot, coriander, and chili. All I'm going to do is add some soy sauce, sweet chili, well not sweet chili, it's like a chili sauce, and a bit of rice wine vinegar. Just a touch of rice wine vinegar, less than half a teaspoon. Soy sauce, never tasted this one before, but it looked interesting. It smells really sweet. Oh, it's not sweet chili, it's actual chili sauce. So I might actually make this sweeter if it's not nice enough. Just put a bit of that in, that's probably a teaspoon and a half. A heap of soy, probably looking at 3 tablespoons. Give her a stir. I'm actually going to add a bit of caster sugar to this as well. A teaspoon. Now let's stir her up and have a taste. So fresh. You know what it's missing actually? Touch of fish sauce. Be very, very careful with fish sauce. It can overpower it before you realise. So I'm literally going to go like 3 splashes. Oh, this sauce is probably going to be better than the dumpling. Yeah, that's quality. Let's pull this out of the fridge, give it a little stir. What we need is gyoza pastry, because we don't want this shit to stick to a plate. At least with paper, we can peel it away. Let's open up our pastry. You can probably make this, probably takes a long, long time, or you can just buy it for like a few dollars. I think there's about 30 sheets here. 1 sheet. That's really soft, it's like Play-Doh, that's really cool. Teaspoon and a half, and we'll see how we go. Pop it all into the middle. I'm kind of nervous, I've never done this before. Let's wet the outside of the pastry. I think it's as simple as doing the squish. I think they kind of twist it a bit. This is gonna be messy. Twist and pinch, make it look a little bit like a curry puff. You know what, I'm not unhappy with that. For my first ever attempt, we have raw gyoza. And repeat steps whatever through whatever as many times as you've got fucking pastry. We've done about, I don't know, 25, 30. I'm nearly done. This is a very long fucking process. Kind of wish I didn't do it, but they're going to be fucking tasty. Whatever. Funny story is I worked in a Thai restaurant for a little while when I was younger, and we used to make our own made curry puffs there. The chef was very happy for me to make the curry puff filling. However, when it came to folding the pastry and inserting the ingredients into the puff pastry, I was never allowed because Phalang have 2 fat fingers. Phalang means white person in Thai. So these are all different, odd, weird looking, odd shapes, but you know what, they're all gonna taste fucking delicious. And there we have it. 30 pork dumpling. Always try and use a pan for this that you have a lid that fits. So I'm just about to go through my cupboard to find one that fits. Pan nice and hot, back to the oil. I'm going to put the gyoza down on its side in the hot oil to get a crispy base, nice and golden, and then I'm going to put a couple of teaspoons of water and put the lid on. That's going to steam the rest of the cooking, so it's going to be half crispy, half steamed, half soft. And we're just going to pop these down on their side. We should get a little sizzle. And we didn't, so the oil's not hot enough. Disappointment. We're only going to be cooking these in oil on one side. So I've made 30, I can fit 10 in the pan, cook it for a minute or 2 here. This is basically the colour we want on one side. We get a little bit of water, probably about a tablespoon worth. dump it in, shut the lid. So these are definitely cooked, and they're slippery little fuckers. And we have pork gyoza, homemade, Falang, white person style. Give it a dip. That's really, really good. I'm gonna double dip, it's only for me. I actually go out and eat dumplings quite often. It's one of my favorite things to go and have out. This is as good as the most mediocre restaurant I've gone to. When I say that, mediocre, I walk away pretty satisfied. If I went to a mediocre restaurant and I ordered this, I'd be very, very happy. Give it a go, time consuming, maybe make a smaller batch if it's just for yourself. If it's for lots of people, make it bigger. Catch you next time.